Hi guys, Steph here. Right, what do we have for you today? We've got for you a rather interesting fountain pen. Now this pen I actually found on my recent travels, and when I actually found it, well, it was rather dirty. The whole pen was quite dirty. I know I should have done maybe a before, but I forgot to do it. But what I've actually done, I've actually just cleaned everything internally, inside the cap, the feed, etc. We've put a brand new sack in the pen. So what we've done, we've just generally sort of serviced it, even to the extent that I've just given it a slight sort of clean on the outside. A lot of dirt came off, should I say. And even now you can see there's some slight discoloration, especially sort of this area here. But what I thought, rather than go over the top, I've just left it as it is, because it's, in my opinion, it's an antique fountain pen. So for a change, like I say, I just simply cleaned everything and serviced it and left the pen as it is, with its little sort of wear marks, scratches, as I said, a little bit of discolouring. But either way, I think it's a gorgeous pen. And what we've got for you, nice and simply, is a Swan self-filling pen. Okay, now if I take you to the barrel imprint. Now the barrel imprint is a little bit on the worn side, but given the age of the pen, I think it's quite acceptable. We can see to the top there, it's got Swan self-filling pen. And then just underneath it then becomes a little bit worn. I can just make out the first word of Mabie. Now, does it have Mabie Todd and Company, or does it have the Mabie Todd and Bard imprint? Well, the answer is I'm not too sure. And then just a little bit further down, I don't know how visible it is for you, but we can actually make out that the pen was made in USA. And then also to the bottom of the barrel, if I can just look over the camera, not sure where it is. Oh, there we go. So what it has there, as you can see, it says 2SF, and then it's got an M, and then it's got the letters BRD. Okay, so I would say the number 2 indicates it's got a number 2 nib. It's an SF self-filler. Now the M and BRD, does that sort of indicate that it's a medium to broad nib? Well, we'll find out in a moment. You can see it's a lever fill, and it's got the very early, just a slender but long lever, as you can see there. Originally I would have said it's got this chasing pattern, which again is a little bit on the worn side. And then to the cap there, it's got quite a large cap band, which I would say would be gold filled. And in this particular case, the pen is a clipless pen. Now, I believe this particular model later on, they did actually introduce a clip to the pen, but the very early ones, as you can see in this case, is a clipless pen. Now, the size of it, it's quite a long pen. From the top of the cap to the bottom of the barrel, it's 140 millimeters capped. Around the barrel, it's approximately 11.5 millimeters in diameter. Now, what's the age of this pen? The pen, I would say, is made in black hard rubber, and I would say the fact that it's actually made in USA, I would say it's dated around about the 1920s. maybe just a tad earlier, who knows. But in this particular case, or just for this video, I'm going to date the pen around about the 1920s. And for you people that know or don't know, the Mabie Todd pens started off in the USA, and then later, you know, the production was over in the UK as well. So you'd see a lot of these pens that are made in England, but not so many that were made in the USA. Okay, so again, very briefly, the pen is not, I was going to say it's not in excellent condition. I don't expect the pen to be in excellent condition. For a pen that is over 100 years old, I think it's in lovely condition. And as we've said, you know, we've left a lot of the sort of little nicks and knacks and, you know, very sort of light scratches, because I think that gives the pen a little bit of the, if you like, its past life. Now, let's unscrew the cap for you here. Let's give you a couple of the usual different angles, different twirls. Okay, now when I say it's an interesting pen, take a look at that nib. What a dobber. Okay, it's a stub nib, and as you can see, it's a broad nib. But first of all, the section, you can see it's got the very sort of recognisable section of that period. You can see just here the sort of slight discolouring to the pen compared with the section. Flares up towards the nib, and then once again the nib there. We've got Mabie Todd and Company, and in this case New York, and then to the very bottom we've got the number 2. So as it said at the bottom of the barrel, it's a number 2 nib. As we've said, it's a self filler, but the very interesting thing is about this very broad nib, and again the fact that it's made in New York, which again indicates to me that it's an earlier model, as we've said, sort of 1920s. It's got the very sort of recognisable ladder feed underneath, and then you can just see to the feed there, I would say it would have had the word Swan, but again that's slightly worn, which once again is more than understandable for a pen of this age. Okay, let's give you a little different view of the nib there. Okay, now when I actually received this pen, I don't know how clear it is on the video, but just to the left and right of the breather hole, it had sort of 2 hairline cracks. Okay, so I thought, right, you know, the nib, this broad nib is worth saving. So what we did, we actually we gold soldered the back of the nib, as you can see there. Okay, so that is now, well, I would say it's stabilized the nib, and we can get the pen in working order for somebody to enjoy for many years to come. Okay, so that's the interesting thing about this pen. Even look at that from a distance, look how broad that nib is. Actually, what I've actually got to my side here, okay, let's bring these on, and let's see if we can measure the nib. A little bit difficult doing it over the camera, but let me sort of try. go. Is that right? 192. Let's switch it off. Just try it one more time. Get the very tip of the pen. 196. So yeah, getting on for 2. Is it 2 millimeters wide? So let's pop them calipers back again over here. And there we have it. A lovely wide nib. So somebody who enjoys writing, who's got the skills to make this gorgeous nib sing, will enjoy it, I'm quite sure. I'm not going to do a writing sample because, as I say, I've fully serviced it. We've put a brand new sack in it and everything is now ready to go to somebody, as I said, who will enjoy it and use it to its potential. Only kidding. How can we have a nib like this without showing you how it writes? So what we're going to do, let's bring on our ink. Let's dip the nib in the ink. Okay, we can see some lovely bubbling going on there, which is precisely what we want to see. Let's give it a wipe. Pop the ink to one side. Whoops-a-daisy. And then let's bring on, there we go, a brand new pad for this gorgeous nib. Now, as always, I've not tested it before, so you're going to see what I see, and if it needs any kind of adjustment, we'll adjust it. But let's see how the pen writes. So what we've got is a Swan self-filler, made in USA, and as we said before, I would say circa 1920s. Okay, so very early antique fountain pen. It's writing very nicely. You can see already, look at the variation in line. Okay, look at that. I'm not putting any pressure on the nib. I'm writing very lightly, but maybe if we put just look at that, writing very nicely indeed, with a lovely wet line as well. So look at this, you people that like to see pens writing. Okay, I don't think I've ever used a full page. Let's leave it at that. So let's pop the cap back on. What I'll do, I'll swill the pen out after the video and we'll try and find a new home. And look at that. Now there's some lovely variation in the line, as you can see there. So, well, as it said on the bottom of the barrel, is it a medium to broad? It's definitely broad. Definitely broad. But is it a medium? Well, I'm not too sure. But there you go. I think that's the longest writing sample I've ever done on a video. But that nib is more than worth it. It writes lovely, and somebody, I know there's people out there that write and they've got lovely cursive writing style, and this would complement somebody like that. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed looking at the pen as much as I enjoy showing them to you people. Don't forget, leave a comment below, just below there. Press that thumbs up if you enjoy the video. If you didn't, no problem. Don't forget to subscribe as well. But for now, I'm going to say Slava Ukraini from me and this gorgeous pen. I'm going to say bye-bye for now.